Hello dear students, this is Professor Bhumisha from the Computer Engineering Department, Silver Rock University. Now today's video is all about the basics of C language under the subject Fundamentals of Programming 1. Now, before we are moving with the program, let us first of all understand which are the basic features of C language. So as you can see, the very first feature of C language is it's a simple. Now what do you mean by simple? It is simple language in the sense that it provides the structured approach. That means to break the problem into the simple parts with the help of rich set of library function, data type, sub function and all. So it is having a structured approach. Another feature is machine independent and portable. What do you mean by machine independent? As you can see, it says it can be executed on different machines with some machine specific changes. It is the concept of carrying the instruction from one system to another system. In C language, a .c file, when we create a C program, it is stored with the .c extension. So a C file contains the source code. We can edit also. This file can be edited. It contains the code, source code of a C program. We can edit this code, and .exe file contains the application. When we are compiling it, when it is having a machine code, that exe file is generated. We can execute the exe file. We can write and compile any C program on Windows operating system. That program easily run on other Windows based system. That means what? Whatever the program we have created in any Windows operating system, if we have that source code, we can run it. Another feature is it's a middle level programming language. That means what? Basically, the C program language is intended to do the low level programming, but it also supports the feature of high level programming. That means what? We can design the high level programming concepts, like if we want to design the kernels, if we want to design the drivers, that can be done with the help of C program. So C program is no doubt it's a middle level language, but it is also supporting the features of high level language. It's a procedural language. Now what is procedural language? That means it uses the set of instructions to inform or guide the computer what to do step by step. That means what? If we are designing our program which is containing the set of instruction and rules, that means what? We are telling the computer in which manner we are supposed to run that code. Next feature is about the reach library. It provides a lot of inbuilt function. That means what? Any programming language is having two type of function, either inbuilt or user defined. Inbuilt means what? The functions which are provided by the system itself. It's a readily available function. So C programming language is having the reach library. That means what? For example, I want to perform some of the mathematical operations. At that time I have a math related functions available. I can have the string related function which I can directly use. So C programming is having the readily available inbuilt function that we can directly use so that our coding time can be minimized. Next is memory management. It provides the dynamic memory allocation. Now what is dynamic memory allocation? This is the very important and efficient feature which is related to any programming language. Runtime, we can allocate the memory, and as and when it is done, we are done with that particular code, we can also free that memory. This is called the runtime memory. So C is also providing us the dynamic memory allocation features. It is fast and efficient. The compilation and execution time of the C language is fast. That means what? The program that we are writing into the C program, it can generate its output within the seconds, within a very less amount of time. So the compilation and execution, why these two words are there? Because in C program, the final output can be generated by going with the two process. One is compilation and another is execution. So these two steps we are supposed to perform with the C code. Compilation is checking for the errors and execution is done when the compilation is successful. Then there is a statically type. The type of variable is checked at the time of compilation but not at the runtime. As I told in the previous feature that compilation is the step where the whole code is checked, and if there is no error, the source code, that is .c file, can be generated. So statically type, that means what? The variables are checked at the time of compilation, and in case if we have done any kind of mistake in declaration or writing that code, that will be prompted over there. Extensible. It can be easily extended with the new features. Extensible means what? C program allows the programmer to add some of the new function if they want. So it can be extensible. Now, so these are the basic features of the C programming language. Now, what is the structure of C program? Why? Because one of the slide that we see previously is said that it's a structured and procedural language. So we must follow the structure. And for that, we must know what is that structure. What kind of parts over there that we need to write at the time of program. So let us see the structure of C program. So as you can see, this is the structure. The very first is documentation section. Then there comes a link section, definition section, global declaration section. After that, there is a main function section. Again in main, we have the two parts. One is declaration part and another is executable part. These are the basic structure, and after that you can see there is a subprogram section, which is nothing but the user defined subprogram section. That means if we are supposed to write our own functions, at that time we can follow that particular part. So let us see that all the parts of any C program in detail. So this is one of the example of the C program. So now the very first, as we see that the first portion in C program is a documentation section. Now what do you mean by documentation section? Over here you can see in this code there is a double slash and name of the program is written. Documentation section is mainly used to provide the information about the program. Say for example, you are the programmer, you are writing a code for a client. So as a programmer, you know what is the function, what it does, what are the variables. But if you want to provide the information in human language like simple English statements, so that you can write inside the code with the help of comment. So documentation section is mainly designed to provide the information regarding the author, the programmer, the program, the comments and all. So how to write the documentation section? So inside the documentation section, we are writing the information with the help of concept of comment. What is comment? So now, as you can see in the first line, there is a double slash. Name of the program is being followed by the double slash, right? So that double slash indicates the comment. Comment means what? A part of a program which is not either compiled or executed. Because C is a structured language. It follows its own rules. It is having its own syntax. We are supposed to write our code in that syntax only. So if we are writing any simple statements in our code, that will not be compiled and it will cause the error. So to write this kind of information, we are having the concept of comment. So that comments are not either compiled or executed, right? So the information that we want to provide, that can be written in the documentation section. Now then there is a link section. The second portion, as you can see, is the link section. Now what do you mean by link? Link means what? As you can see in the figure, hash include stdio.h and hash include conio.h is written. So over there that hash include, It is known as a preprocessor directives. Hash include is known as a preprocessor directive, and inside the angle brackets we have written stdio.h and conio.h. That is the name of a header file. stdio.h is nothing but the standard input output file which is containing the inbuilt function regarding the input output. We have seen that in the feature of C that it has the rich library of inbuilt function. So that inbuilt functions are written somewhere into the header files. So if we want to use that particular header, that inbuilt function, we need to link that header file with our current code. So in the link section, what we are doing, we are simply linking that header file, the code written inside that header file in our current code, so that we can use the function. Like in the below code, you can see we have used the printf hello mail. So that is nothing but a printf function which is used to print the data written inside it on our output screen. So that printf is an inbuilt function, and the definition of that printf function is written into the stdio.h file. So if I want to use that inbuilt function, I need to link that function in my current code, and that is done with the help of has include. This has include is nothing but a preprocessor. Now what is preprocessor? Preprocessor is a microprocessor that is used by the compiler to transfer our code before compilation. See, pre-processing is done before compilation. It simply links that particular file into our current code. So link section contains section contains the header files of the function that are used in our program. Always remember that preprocessor directives are starting with the hash include. So what it does, it includes the content of header file in our code. Below that you can see hash define. Again, hash define is also the directive, but it is having another purpose. This is also known as a directive. Okay, so that is the documentation section and the link section. The next portion in any C program is the definition section. Definition section and global declaration section are the optional, that depends on our requirement. What is definition section? As you can see in the figure, what we have done, has defined, then there is a space, then the word max is there, then there is a space and 100. So what we are doing, we are simply making one symbolic constant max for our whole code, which is having the value 100. That means what? In our whole program, whenever we are using the max word, that max variable, that will be having the value 100. All the symbolic constants are written into the definition section. In the main code or in the subprograms, we are declaring the variables, and the values of the variables can be changed. But when we are defining it with the help of hash define directive, the value cannot be changed. In the later code, if I am about to assign the value of max to, say for example 50, so it will cause an error. The reason is what? We have defined it. Hash define is the definition section. So whatever the value we want to define, that can be done with the help of hash define. Say for example, we are making the problem for calculating the area. Now we know that in the mathematical concept, the value of pi cannot be changed. So this kind of values which will remain same for all kind of concept, that can be defined. Say for example, I am making the program for calculating the interest in the bank. So rate of interest will remain same. So that rate of interest also can be defined. Why? Because there are no chances that it will change in the program. So hash define is providing this kind of facility. Then there is a global declaration section. What is global declaration section? In our programming, many times we comes to the situation where we are declaring the variables globally. Globally declaration means what? That particular variable can be used within main function, outside the main function. So if we want to have such kind of variables in our code, that can be used anywhere in our program, we should declare them in the global declaration section. Like in the example given, you can see integer x equal to 100. So this x is having the global scope. Global scope means what? Inside the main function I can use it. Below that you can see we have the add function. If I want to use that x into the add function, then also we can do it. Why? Because it is defined globally. It is having the global scope. There are two types of declaration concept. One is global declaration, another is local variable, or I can say local declaration. In our given example, you can see inside the integer main function we have integer a with the value 100. So this a is known as a local variable. Why? Because this a is declared within the main function. You can see the brackets, opening and closing curly bracket of main. So this a variable is accessible only within this scope. If I want to access this variable a outside the main, say for example in add function I am printing the value of a, then I will get the error. Why? Because this is local variable. But if I am using x inside the main function as well as add function, I will get the result. Why? Because this x variable is defined globally. It is declared globally. So that is why it is accessible. Next is the main function. Now this is very important. Every C program is having one main function. It is compulsory because our program execution starts from the main function itself. Main function is only one within a whole C program. It contains two parts. Again, declaration part and executable part. See, C program is a structured language. It is a procedural language. So as the syntax says that declaration parts comes before the executable part. That means what? Whatever the variable we want to declare in our code, that must be declared first before writing any executable statement. So this is the rule that we need to follow while writing the main C function or any of the C program. And then after there is a sub program section. Now what is sub program section? So as I told you previously, if we are about to make any user defined function, that means what? The function that work according to our requirement. Say for example, I want to make the function to find the area of circle. So that I can write as a sub program section. This user defined function is also having its own syntax. We need to follow that syntax and we can use them. So subprogram section contains all the user defined functions that are used to perform a specific task. User defined functions are called in the main function. We can call them. Writing the definition of any program is not sufficient. If we want to use them, we need to call them. So that is why the second statement says that user defined functions are called in the main function. So this is the basic structure of C program. What are the main portions of any C program that we discussed over here? The documentation section, that is used to write the comments, that is used to write the information about the program. Link section is used to link the inbuilt files. To use the inbuilt files in our code. Then there comes the definition section. Definition section contains the definition of any symbolic constants. Global declaration section is used to declare the variables globally that we can use within and outside the main function. Then there is a main function. In C program, there must be a main function and only one main function. Within the main function, we can declare the variables and we can write the executable portion. And sub-program section is optional. If we want to make our own user-defined function, we can write it over there. Now let us see the example of C program. Over here, you can see I have written a C program into the Turbo C. The very first line you can see is a comment. Single line comment and multiple line comment we can use. The first statement program to add two variables. Over there I have used the double slash, that is called the single line comment. This double slash, wherever it is done, it is simply making the remaining content that appears in that line as a comment. That means what? It will not be executable or compiled in the program. Below that, I have written the same thing in two lines. Program to add two variables, but over there I have used the multi-line comment concept. How we can make the multi-line comments? So slash asterisk, then whatever we want to make a comment, and at the end where we want to add the comment, we are writing asterisk and slash. This is the concept of multi-line comments. If we have the paragraph, if we want to add the paragraph in our code, so how we can do? Say for example that paragraph is of 10 lines. So instead of including 10 slash in each line, we can make the concept of multi-line. On the very first line, we are writing slash and asterisk, and at the 10th line end we can use the asterisk and slash. Then I have included the two header files stdio.h and conio.h, that is conio.h. These are the two main header files that we normally use in any C program: standard input output and console input output. Our output is written onto the console. So if we want to work any particular function related to console, at that time these functions are defined into the conio.file. So we need to include them in our code. Below that you can see there is a main function. Over there I have used the CLR-SCR. This is the inbuilt function clear screen, which is defined into the conio.h header file. What is the function of it? It simply clears my console. It simply clears my whole console before any next executable statement. After that I have written printf. Printf statement is used to print the data. Whatever we are writing inside the printf statement into the double quotation mark will be displayed on our output screen. So I have written hello students and welcome to the Silver Rock University. So these two statements will be printed on my screen, and after that there is a getch. Getch is again a console related function. What it simply does, it holds our console output. Output screen will be held with the help of getch. So this CLR, SCR, printf statement and getch, these all are nothing but the executable part. And in C, whatever the statements we are writing are ending with the semicolon. So you can see CLR, SCR, to printf and getch statements are ended with the semicolon. And after that there is a closing bracket. The program is saved with the .c extension. The name of the program you can see is prog1.c. So .c indicates this is the C file. Now once you have done writing of the code, after saving it, the next step is to compile it. So using the compile menu, you compile the code. When you compile it, it simply checks the whole code and checking regarding the syntax of the code. If you have written any wrong, it will prompt over there. If there is no error in our code, it will display this kind of compilation summary. As in our code, we do not have any error. It simply shows the success. And once we continue, we need to run the code. Compilation. After the compilation, we need to run our code to see the output. So for that, we are using the run menu. In the run menu, when you hit enter, the output of your code will be displayed onto the console. Over here, as you can see, hello students and welcome to the Silver Rock University is displayed as the output. So these are the simple steps for creating any C program. We discussed about the basic features of C program, basic structure of any C program, and one sample C program. So thank you everyone.